Tonight, I will love you tonight. Shut your mouth. Did I forget the lyrics? Tonight, I will love you tonight. Give me everything tonight. For all we know, we might not have tomorrow. So let's do it tonight. Okay, I'm gonna be so real with you guys. I spent a lot of time trying to memorize those lyrics. Those four lines. I forgot. That's on me. That's on me. At the end of the day, that's on me. But I think as a society, we need to move on and forgive. Forgive and forget. Thank you for your time. Let's cut to the chase. I know something very valuable and important to the Buzz with Beth is missing. What is it, you may ask? Well, let's look around. Fish City's gone. Fish City's gone, but only temporary. So let me just tell you what happened. We had to move the studio. If you don't know, the studio is in our garage, and this is not the garage. This is a room we built in the garage. So it's a room in a room, but it's really just a structure, and my dad pushed it like a foot away, and so I had to like move all my furniture and stuff, and he took down the Fish City painting so it wouldn't break while we moved it. And I can't lift it myself, and I decided to record at midnight. So I went ahead and put this up. This is a goose. I got this the other day for the studio, but it's going to go behind the camera where you can't see it. But I took it as an opportunity to show our new addition to the studio. But next episode, Fish City will be back. And also, I remembered to change the sign. Also, welcome back to the Buzz with Beth. I am your host, Bethany Haven. And guys, I have some really fun stuff planned tonight. I say tonight because, again, it is midnight, and this comes out in 24 hours. I decided to record the day before it needed to go out because I was like, let me put myself in a nearly impossible position because I thought that'd be really fun and interesting. So that's kind of what we are battling right now. I got my peach water. I used to drink this at my grandma's house a lot when I was younger, and now I'm addicted to it. I've been addicted to it. It's like a whole thing. It's so good. I realized recently I really like peaches. And so does Timothy Chalamet. Meow. We have fun. It's carbonated. It's going to make me burp. Oh, well. Oh, God. That wasn't a burp. I choked. Go figure. Guys, I'm on summer break now. Woo! I know you guys are actually so happy and you're like literally on your floor crying because you're so happy for me. But yeah, I'm on summer break. I finished my first year of college. Woo! Jazz hands! I finished with a 4.0. I know, give me my flowers. So it's really exciting. Which, oh my God, as I said, I just remembered this. So that was another thing I predicted in the first episode. So now 10 episodes back. This is the 11th episode. I don't know math. In the first episode, I predicted many things that have since come true, by the way, but one of them was that I would continue to do really well in school because last semester, my first semester of college, I got a 4.0, and I got the dean's list and the president's list. In this semester, I got a 4.0, so I will be getting the dean's list and the president's list, unless my entire grade was wrong and my life will fall apart. So who knows? It's really up in the air. But yeah, so that was another thing that came true. So I'm starting to think that maybe I am a psychic and you guys should all bow down to me. So that's what I'm kind of thinking right now. 420. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Guys, today was an eventful day for me. Or lack thereof, maybe. Maybe it wasn't. My mom and I had this plan to go to a Kite Festival in town today, and we had been looking forward to it for like over a week, okay? Because it's like this huge festival my town does. Everyone goes, and they fly kites. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. We've been like building it up. We've been so excited. And so today was the festival, and we got up really early, and we went, and guys, no one was there. Literally, no one was there. They had booths, like 5 maybe, and no one was there. And they had, like, the workers, they were just sitting there, like, and there were a few kids running around, but, like, it was barren. I have, like, a video and a photo that I'll show you. I'll pop it up on the screen.
Hey, Jason.
Look at the big turnout.
This is Beth at the Kite Festival. There are no kites. There's Beth. I love her. She is so cool. But as you can see, there is really no one here. And it is so embarrassing to me. But it is pretty much on point for me and my planning of things to do.
But if you're a listener on Spotify, just know, imagine the biggest festival your town could have. Everyone shows up, kites are flying in the air, it's beautiful. Imagine that, but none of it's there and it's just an open field. That was kind of what we were rocking with, and it was really fun. My mom and I literally died laughing because we had been looking forward to it for so long, and it was just such a big bust. But it was funny. It was funny. I'm really hoping that I don't look like a clown on camera. And I mean, like, look like a clown, because I went all out with my makeup today for the episode. Why, you ask? Well, because I've noticed in, like, the previous episodes I put out, I look really washed out. Like, my face, I just have, like, it looks like I just have a base on and lipstick and brows and, like, literally nothing else, which isn't true. Honestly, I'm an over blusher most of the time, but I think because I have lights at me, it washes me out a little bit. And so I was like, in this episode, I'm going to go all ham and cheese, and I'm going to do it up. I'm going to go full glam. My full glam is different than actual full glam. But I have a lot of blush on. So if I look back at this and I look like a total clown, it's going to go down. Guys, let's get to the meat of the episode right off the bat. My celebrity crush. My celebrity crush is, drumroll please, I actually got a band. Go band. I didn't plan that bit out at all. Luke Newton! Jazz hands. Oh, who is Luke Newton? You may be asking. Well, I will be happy to tell you. I'll be happy to tell you. Luke Newton is Colin Bridgerton in the show Bridgerton. And the new season of Bridgerton just came out, and I have been going feral over it. If you've seen my Instagram stories, you know this. I am going so out of my mind over this, okay? In my opinion, maybe it's the best season. And guys, when I tell you, when I utter the words, when I saw him take his shirt off on that carriage in episode 1, jaw agape, on the ground, unhinged like a snake. No words to describe the beauty this man beholds. And it was honestly a new experience for me, because looks aren't really something I go after in men. If you have paid attention to the celebrity crushes I've had in previous episodes, oftentimes it's just like really, really funny men, because that's kind of what I get my jollies off on. I really like funny men, and rarely am I like into someone because I think they're really hot. And this is one of those times he does it for me, guys. He really does. I've seen the interviews with Luke Newton and Nicola Coughlan, who plays Penelope in the show Bridgerton, and he seems like such a nice dude, and he is funny. So I guess it works out. He is funny. So yeah, and he's such a good actor. Oh my god! By the way, okay, let's get this going. Okay, I've heard some discourse online about how this season they have no chemistry. What do you mean? What do you mean no chemistry? Are we watching the same show? Are you blind? Are you blind? Have you lost your senses and gone sightless? Are we watching the same show? No chemistry. What do you mean? That's crazy. That's crazy. Have you seen the interviews between Nicola Coughlan and Luke Newton? And you're going to sit here and tell me no chemistry. Well, I'll tell you this much. Get your guard dogs out. Guard your property. I'm coming to your house. We are about to tussle. Okay? Don't sit there and act like you're above it all. Okay? That is some good chemistry. The carriage scene? The carriage scene. Let's take a moment. What do you expect me to say? That scene? I'm getting hot just thinking about it. I'll tell you that much. I read the book. And recently, I read the book. I finished it last night. And I don't know if I missed something in the book, but in the book it was not as saucy as it was in the show. Maybe I missed something, but I ain't complaining. Okay, I'm not complaining in the slightest. Okay, that scene. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I haven't replayed it 10 times before bed every night since it come out. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it. Okay, because I am an honest woman at the end of the day, and that scene goes hard. Okay, you're gonna sit here and put Pitbull in the background of the carriage scene. Talk about fierce. Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. Pitbull, Pitbull. That was fierce. That was a level of fierce that, like, it reached a new level. Like, no one has ever come to that level of fierce until now, and it was Bridgerton. So I applaud them. Shonda Rhimes, to be in your mind for a moment, I would like to be in the mind of Shonda Rhimes. To wield such creativity. Honestly, it leaves me speechless. It really does. And I love you, Shonda. I love you, Shonda, for bringing us peak Regency couture, storylines, romance, romance. Romance. Shonda, you have my heart. Colin Bridgerton, you have my heart. Luke Newton, you can have literally anything you want, babe. You can have anything you want. Love you forever. But yeah, that show goes so hard. And I'll be honest with you, when it first come out, I was like, oh, it's good. But I wasn't that into it. Okay? I'll be honest. I don't know why I was so out of my mind and crazy the year it came out. But I'm gonna be the first to tell you, I am in full regret. If I could go back, I'd slap myself across the face. I would. And I think as a society, we need to normalize having regrets. People say, live your life, no regrets. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you, that is something they need to ingrain in you at age 1. Okay, because since then I've just built up so many regrets, and now suddenly everyone's like, no regrets, dude. What do you mean no regrets? The past 18 years have been full of them. I can't just go, but it doesn't matter. Simply, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that show is so good. And honestly, the thing that really did me in was the fashion. Penelope's fashion this season, and only half of it's come out so far because they did a split, which people are complaining about the split. I like it. I think leave people on their toes, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna drop this everywhere. If you haven't watched the show, I probably am giving away spoilers, and for that I do apologize. I don't care. I don't care. But the fashion has just been so outstanding, and Penelope looks so good this season. That like mint green type thing she got going on, that is her color. Like, leaving me speechless. Okay, I just shook the wall behind me. We're gonna let it go. But yeah, if you haven't seen Bridgerton yet, like the new season, it's really good. And if you come at me being like, there's no chemistry, or I just see you out and about and you're like, there's no chemistry, this is my least favorite season, get ready to be punched. I'm kidding. I would literally never do that. I would never hurt you, baby. I would, actually. I would. Uh, but yeah, it's a really good season. I'm really, really excited for the second half to come out. And as I said before, I read the book. The book was really good. On my Goodreads, I gave it 5 stars. Now, if you go to my Goodreads, please don't. I'm a little embarrassed for the lack of books I've read in my life. I am literate. I'm not going to explain myself cuz I'm scared now. But I gave it a 5 stars on my Goodreads. Honestly, not because I think the book is worth 5 stars. I think it's worth 4 stars. I think the book is worth 4 stars because I do have because okay. Here's why. I'll tell you. I can't tell you, it's a spoiler. Okay, I gave the book 4 stars, but the reason I bumped it back up to 5 stars was because I love the actors in the show so much that I was like, it would be an injustice to not give the book 5 stars when it's just so close. You know what I mean? But yeah, really good book. I would recommend. It's called Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. It's of course it's the fourth Bridgerton book. It's the only one I've read. Did I read the first 3? No. No, I didn't. Why? Because I'm against tradition. I'm not going to be held by the shackles of conformity, okay? I'm breaking free. Soaring, flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. If we're trying, yeah, we're breaking free. See, I can't, I can't sing "Give You Everything" by Pitbull, a like classic song that everyone knows, but I can definitely sing "Breaking Free" from High School Musical. So if that tells you anything about me, there you go. Anyway, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, okay. This is good. We're only 16 minutes in. Have I been talking really fast? What? Well, now we're 17 minutes in. Okay. 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 Guys, get it. Guys, literally get it together. Okay? It's not a big deal. Get off my back. Get off my back. Get off. Sometimes I'm like I feel so stupid. Oh, speaking of okay, actually, what? So back to Bridgerton, one last thing. I wore this shirt today cuz I thought it was kind of I bet you can't even see the details on camera, but it's kind of Bridgerton-y, I think. So I find that really interesting. Anyway, let's talk about this next thing. It's hot in here, guys. So when I first started the podcast, one of the major things that I was like wanting to do, like one of the major reasons I wanted to start it is because I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories I like to tell. I love storytelling. That's like a passion of mine. If you followed me on Instagram for a long time, you would know that because for 7 years straight, that was all I did on Instagram. I would just tell stories. Which, I guess it makes sense why I have a podcast now. But anyway, I wanted to tell stories because I have a lot of crazy things that have happened to me. A lot of them I'm very young, so they've all happened in like high school, middle school, so forth, or whatever. I just have a lot of crazy stuff that's happened to me. But one of the things that always comes to mind when I think about all the crazy things that happened to me was this one instance in high school, and I will tell you the story. I got pepper sprayed. I got pepper sprayed in high school. It was a really interesting experience, and I'm here to tell the tale. So when I was in high school, it was my senior year, so it was actually quite recent. So like a year ago now, close to a year ago. No, it is a year ago now. It's a little over a year. I was taking a cooking class, and I hated it. I hated this cooking class because no one liked me at all, and well, we found that out. But no one liked me at all in this cooking class. And so there was like a cooking class it was just basic cooking skills, and then there was a culinary class. They went on at the same time, like same hour, but it was just separate classes. And then they had a kitchen that was like, hey, anyone can go into the kitchen, whatever class you're in. And one day we were in the kitchen. We were learning knife skills. So I was cutting a potato. I was cutting up a potato in there, and I was like doing my exam is what I was doing. And so I had to cut this potato really well. And while my class was in there, the culinary class came in there as well. and I was cutting my potato. I was doing really good. And then like the culinary class, they were kind of goofing off. They thought they were better than us because they were, and so they didn't really have to do any of the like dirty work like I was doing. They weren't cutting potatoes. They were like making some like gourmet meal, like a poached egg or something. They were like making something crazy or I don't even know. But they were goofing off. They were this specifically this little group of people, I guess. I guess they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. I really wouldn't know cuz I was busy cutting a potato. And I really freaked my teacher out cuz I was in a really bad mood that day. I was in a bad mood every day cuz I was in high school being me. I was being me and I was never happy in high school. So she was like, maybe it would help you to cut the potato if you stood up. And I was sitting there. I was like, and I stood up to cut. I don't know. I really freaked her out because I looked so creepy. She thought I was like gonna die or something. And she was like, as I stood, I don't know. That just comes to mind. But neither here nor there. I finally finished cutting my potato and I went to go actually cook with the potato. Because once I like cut it up, I finished my exam. And then we're supposed to like go cook something with it. And I was gonna make like little diced potatoes, like something you eat at breakfast. Have you ever been to Big Boys Frisch's? They have like those little potatoes at the salad bar if you go for breakfast. It was those, which by the way are so freaking good at Frisch's. Anyway, but I went out to go cook them, and I was like, I got up and I went to my station to cook, and in that movement, I started like feeling my eyes burning. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, and it kept getting worse and worse. I was like, is someone cutting an onion? Oh my god! And I was like, oh my god, it burns! It burns! Oh, I just kissed the mic. It burns so bad! And everyone else was like, what is this chick on about? And I was like, someone has to be cutting an onion right now! Oh my god! And what had happened was this group of kids from the culinary class were goofing off with a bottle of pepper spray. And they thought it'd be really funny to spray it out and about. And I walked through the cloud of pepper spray. And so I was lit up. I was lit and not in the fun way. I was on fire. I was like, my eyes were watering, and I was like, oh my god, what has happened? And I couldn't do anything because no one liked me in the class, for one, and no one knew what happened. The only people who the people who sprayed the pepper spray didn't know what happened because they sprayed it and then they went away, and I happened to walk through it. My bad luck, and I got pepper sprayed indirectly. And that honestly kind of sums up my whole entire high school experience. Just like crazy stories like that over and over again every day of my life. But yeah, I got pepper sprayed at school. And then later that night, I remember it so vividly. That night, I was supposed to go to my school, to my now school, like my college, my university, to watch some people from SNL do a performance, like do a comedy show. And I was so excited, dude. I was so excited to go to this. Like, I thought it was gonna be a stand up show because it was actors from SNL and they're comedians, duh. And I was like, I've never been to like a stand up show before. Like, I'm so excited, and I had built up the night for weeks. And I was so excited. I went, and the people who were there, I'm not gonna say their names because I feel bad, but they did not know what they were doing at all. I think they were like asked to come, and they didn't know why they were asked. And so the only thing they did, they stood up there and they were like, anyone have any cool stories? And so they brought people on stage, have them tell a story, and they'd be like, that is wild. And that was basically the whole thing. Nothing against them, like the people from SNL. Go them. I have nothing against them. I think they were just like not given any direction in what to do. So I guess that's the school's fault. But yeah, that happened. So that was crazy. I wanted to tell you the pepper spray story because that was a crazy thing that happened to me. You know, not everyone can say that they've been pepper sprayed, and definitely not say they've been pepper sprayed indirectly. I was a victim, and then the perpetrators don't even know they did it. So that was crazy. You know how I actually found out? Because I was lit on fire, and my friend Maria, who I talk about all the time on here, she was in the culinary class. We had it like the same hour. Like, I was in the cooking class, she was in culinary. And I was like, dude, my eyes are on fire. Like, what is happening? I think someone's cutting an onion. I've never felt this way before. And she goes, some kids were playing with pepper spray. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, some kids in my class were playing with pepper spray. You must have walked through it. And I was like, I'm going to need you to repeat that, actually. And so, yeah, that's how I found out. My friend Maria, she was the one to break the news to me that I had been pepper sprayed. That's another thing. You don't hear every day of someone getting pepper sprayed, them not knowing they got pepper sprayed, just feeling the effects of it. I felt the effects, I'll tell you that much. That was pretty bad. But yeah, so I can say I've been pepper sprayed. So, for the next thing I want to talk about, this is kind of a vibe shift. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Have I even been looking in the camera this whole time? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about anxiety. Big shift from being pepper sprayed, but yeah. I don't talk about this often on the podcast, but I'm pretty sure you can kind of catch my vibe and know I suffer pretty bad from anxiety. I think I've probably mentioned it before, but I do. I have pretty bad anxiety. And I'm sure you can guess that as someone who has a solo podcast. That's the reason I have a solo podcast, because I have bad social anxiety and can't be around people. So that's kind of my situation. But it's because recently I've come into an issue. It's not recent. It's something I've always dealt with. People want to like hang out with me or stuff. They like invite me places. It sucks so much because, I can't go. I can't go because I freak out. I have big freakouts, and if you invite me to a party, you're gonna have to give me about 2 months in advance before that party so I can mentally prepare every day leading up to it, because it freaks me out so bad. And even then, it's like not enough, and I'll still like have a major freak out. Hanging out with friends, I rarely hang out with for the one friend I have, Maria. We rarely hang out, just because I have such bad anxiety. She knows that though. She knows that. So it's chill. But like it's really bad. And that was a reason why I struggled in high school so much. Um I just every day was a battle. And every day still is a battle. I would say it's better now though, now that I'm in college, cuz I kind of can come into my own. Whereas in high school it just was bad. But I pretty much started having anxiety when I was like in middle school, which I think is kind of always when it happens for people. But honestly, like I know as a kid I kind of had anxiety too, but really it hit in middle school, and it was like about a level here. And then as I got older and got to high school, it got to about here. And then when I got to my junior year, it was about up here. And since then, my anxiety has been about like right here, just a little lower than that. But yeah, pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And I want to sit here and be like, give advice. I feel like because I'm the one sitting here and you guys are listening to me, I need to be like giving you advice, giving you like motivation to help you through things. But honestly, I don't know how to get through it. Still, I don't know. I've struggled with anxiety for so long now. It's not a foreign thing to me. And it's a crazy feeling. It really is. If you don't struggle with anxiety, I wish I was you. I think everyone struggles with it to some degree, but I really struggle with it, and many other people do as well. It's not a new thing. But I wanted to talk about it because it is such a big part of my life. It's a reason why some parts of my life suck socially. If we're getting in all the nitty gritty, but it is a really big part of my life. It's a reason why I have failed to do a lot of things. It's ruined a lot of things. That's okay though. But like I get back to like the friend thing. Can't hang out with friends because it's just a little too much. And I want to say that because you, but I it's never something I'm like it's never something I really talk about with people because what do you say? They're like, "Hey, you want to come to this party?" No, sorry, I can't. My anxiety is so bad that if I go, I'll ruin the night for not only myself but everyone around me. You can't just say that. And so I'm like, "No, I'm like busy." And when really I just suck. When really I'm broken. But it's okay. I want to talk about it because I know so many people struggle with that, and I know a lot of my viewers and people who listen to the podcast are a lot like me, and so A to B, I'm sure you struggle with it as well. Um, and I don't really have a solution for you. I'm sorry to say because actively I'm suffering. So, when I find a solution, I will be happy to let y'all know. But as of now, all I have is like my head. Um, and I know it's not like really like the most upbeat thing to talk about, but I want to talk about it because even though I don't have I'm not saying the best things in the world. I'm not helping anybody or whatever. I like to talk about it because I think in my opinion, if you can talk about something even though you're not like offering up suggestions on how to help, it normalizes the conversation so you can get to a point of where you can at some point get to a better place. You know what I mean? Like if the more we talk about things like this, the more likely it is that we'll be able to like come out of it on the other side okay. You know what I mean? And I know that like I don't know. I don't have all the answers. If you can tell, I'm gonna be 19 in a few days. But yeah, I like to talk about it sometimes. I don't talk about it with people in general. The only person I talk to my anxiety about is my mom because she's a lot like me. And she suffers from anxiety as well, pretty bad. And so she like to me, she's like the only person in my life that gets it. Um, because like every single day I wake up, it is a battle. Every single day I wake up, I have to be like, okay, we're gonna do this. We got this. And some days are worse than others, you know, of course. Like today, for example, I woke up to go to the Kite Festival and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, it ended up not being an issue, but I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to be around people and I'm gonna have to like interact with people and I have to do this, you know, like force my the thing that like gets me through my day to day is I force myself to do things. And I can always say in my head, do it for the plot. Do it because you'll have something to talk about on the podcast. And so I can force myself to do things because I have like a reason. So I every day I have to like force myself to like get through the day and not stay in bed all day where I'm safe. But today was just one of those days where I was like, you're gonna have to be around people today. You got this. You can do this. And just like having to talk to myself through it as I'm getting ready. Of course, it ended up not being a problem as there was no one at the Kite Festival. So I guess you could say, in a sense, I dodged a bullet. However, I would have liked to see the kites. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. And I think we just have to accept that. But, yeah. I've always struggled with it, I think. I know I said it, like, really started in middle school. But, no, I've always struggled with anxiety. I know in, like, elementary school, I didn't want to be away from my parents. So I'd be fake getting sick. And it really wasn't like I didn't enjoy school. Well, I didn't because I had anxiety. But like I know looking back, and I'm sure people are gonna look at me and say I'm crazy. That's fine. What's new? But I had anxiety. I didn't want to be away from my parents. I was like scared. I remember I had trouble making friends. I've always had trouble making friends. It is literally nothing new. Hey, I've been around the block with that. But I like struggle making friends. I struggle making I struggled making friends, and I remember like even in kindergarten, in preschool, kindergarten, like leading up, like I wanted to be friends with a certain person. I couldn't be friends with that person because it just never worked. And I was anxious and I didn't know what to say and I didn't know how to make them like me. And then it was that whole thing. And then I got to middle school and it got so much worse. But then in middle school, that's when my mom started taking me out of school just because she felt bad for me. Which is crazy. Which I know sounds crazy. But like there would be days my mom knew like this girl can't take it. I'm gonna pull her out of school for the day. So she would just come get me. I didn't even have to call sometimes. She'd just be like, she would just feel it. She's like, I feel like Beth needs to leave today. And so she'd come get me. She didn't do it like often, but every once in a while she'd just come get me so I could have like a break from school. My parents are big believers in education, but they're also big believers like, hey, sometimes you need a break. And oftentimes I needed a break. And then it happened more and more in high school because it just got so much worse, especially my junior year of high school because I was bullied so bad. Which I know I don't. What should I say? I I guess I could get into it a little bit. I know I talk a lot. Like I was bullied really bad, specifically my junior year of high school. And I'm like, I'll talk about it in another episode. I'll talk about it in another episode. And I guess because I was never ready to talk about it, and it's not something I'm ashamed that happened. At the time, I was really ashamed that it was happening to me, but now I'm not. I just, I guess it's not really something people want to talk about or listen to. But I guess I'll let you in on some of the lore. Why not? Why not get into it? Because I have a feeling this episode's gonna be short, so why not extend it a little bit? When I was in my junior year of high school, I was bullied really, really bad. I was bullied to the point my hair started falling out, and I almost quit school entirely and went to online school. The only reason I didn't quit school, like I didn't drop out of my high school, the only reason I didn't was because I was fearful that my grades would suffer because of it. I did online school for COVID, um, and I didn't feel like my grades suffered because of it. I ended up with an A in every class, of course, but I had to cheat. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to jeopardize my grades just because I'm getting bullied, which is not a healthy thing, by the way. Honestly, like I'm gonna be completely honest with you, it was not a healthy situation where I was. My high school experience differs greatly from like the usual high school experience because I was in a certain program with my school. So there was two schools. One of them was like where you would kind of get a vocational education and then you'd go to your home high school. And so the first half of my day I'd be at this vocational school and then I'd take the bus back over to my home high school. And that was like the situation I was in. And at the vocational school, I was with these people half the day and I was with the same group of people the entire time. So when we changed classes, we all went together. And that's where the bullying was happening. So from the start of my day to 4 hours later, like for 4 hours every single day, I would be with the same group of people being tormented every day. Every day. Except on weekends, of course, but you know what I mean. And I couldn't get away from it because it was such a tight knit group of people. I was like the only outsider, and I just didn't fit in with them. And it was so strange because that group of people was made out to be like the most sensitive and caring and creative and just cognizant of how other people felt. Just like kind of that vibe. They were like painted that way. Like the most welcoming. I'll say that. Like they were painted to be the most welcoming group of people. And that's how they acted um to like outsiders like looking in. But if you were actually in it, you would see how toxic it was. It was like the worst group of people put together. And they bullied the dog crap out of me, specifically two people. It really was just two people. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into what they said to me and all of that, like specific things because it's not like it adds to the story. But they made fun of me a lot, like in the way, like not like they made fun of me, but they made fun of me, like who I am as a person. It's one thing when someone like makes fun of you, like, oh, you're fat. People tell me that all the time. It's another when they're like, you are so stupid. You shouldn't be here. You don't belong here. You're awful. Like making fun of who you are as a person. That's different. That to me, that's what hurt more. Um, and then they would make fun of my family because I'm very close with my family, and they made fun of my family, and they said some horrible things that I had done. They were like, they made up lies that I performed certain thing, it was a whole thing. But and they spread rumors about me, which at age 16, very embarrassing. Hey, maybe when I was 16 it was really embarrassing. And at the time, I was so embarrassed that I was being bullied. Like, I was embarrassed for what the bullies were saying, but I was embarrassed by the fact that I was being bullied. Because in my head, I was like, I'm 16 years old. In 2 years, I'll be 18. I'll be an adult. And I'm being bullied? I'm like, I'm a grown up person and I'm being bullied. Like, who am I? How am I letting this happen? How am I letting this happen to me? I was a child. I still am. But it was crazy. I cannot believe I thought, like, I can't believe how embarrassed I was that I was being bullied. Like the idea that I was being bullied. It's so crazy. And like I feel like when people talk about being bullied, that's not something that like people really talk about. The embarrassment that it's happening. Especially like the things they were saying, I didn't want to repeat because it was so grotesque. The best way to put it. The things that they would say about me were some of like the worst things you would ever hear. And they would tell everyone that, and it I was it kind of destroyed me at 16. But the world didn't end when I was 16. I have no idea what they're doing now, but hopefully they're watching this and seeing how good I'm doing. But yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy. I I've never been a person who could stand up for themselves ever. If someone's mean to me, I can't find it in me to be mean back and stand up for myself because it's just such a weird thing with my mind. I'm like, "Oh, they hurt me. Oh, but what if I hurt them?" Cuz I would never want to hurt somebody. And always like in my mind when someone is mean to me, I'm just like, "Well, what are they going through? Why did they say it?" And I do know some of the things they were going through, but I think one thing it did teach me was you do have a choice to be a good person. And the difference is, yeah, they were probably going through some stuff of their own, but so was I because of them. And I still chose to be a good person. That's the difference. So now, like looking back, I wish I would have said something to them, but it's over now. So, but even like the worst part, and I've thought about this a lot, the worst part of it all was not the fact that I was being bullied. It was that no one believed me when I said I was being bullied. The only people that had my back was, of course, my mom, my dad, my sister, especially my mom. Oh my god, am I gonna cry? But no one else believed me when I said something was happening to me. And I finally got up the courage to tell my counselor that something was happening to me. And I wrote like a whole email, and I was like, I I marked it as like priority um, like high priority. And I wrote him an email, and I even put in the subject line like siren signs, emergency. And I wrote this email, and I was like, I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied so bad that my hair is falling out because I've spoken about this before. I have alopecia, but I spoke about this before, but I have alopecia. Um, the kind there's different kinds if you didn't know. I have the kind if you are really stressed out or going through a stressful time, you can lose like pieces of hair, like and have like a bald spot. Sometimes it's worse for others, and you know it's a spectrum. But for me, if I go through a really stressful period, I'll lose some of my hair, and it was a big issue when I was a kid, and I I hadn't struggled with it for like a really long time until then. Until it wasn't a problem for years until I started being bullied and I started losing my hair. And you know, when you're 16, you really care about that stuff. Now, I mean, I'm still quite young, duh, but I don't care about it as much anymore. But when you're 16, it matters more. And I was embarrassed. And you couldn't even see it. Because, like, honestly, like, when it happens, I have really, really thick hair. I have a lot of hair. So when I lose my hair, it's not that big of a deal because I can easily cover it up. And honestly, it's usually, like, in the back, like, down here. So no one would have ever seen it. But, I was like, I'm losing my hair. It's that bad. And I'm trying to think of the best way to describe the situation. It was so bad that I remember in this garage actually before the studio was here. I was sitting in like the corner of the garage. I was praying to God that something would happen to me so I wouldn't have to go to school. I remember praying that I'd get like hit by a car. I wanted to get hit by a car. That was like the main thing I prayed for. I guess I thought that was like the one thing that would probably not kill me but put me in the hospital so I could have a break. I prayed. I remember specific. I was like, "Dear God, please let something happen to me. Let me get into a car accident. Let my family be okay. Just let me like something happen so I can be in the hospital. I don't want to die. Just give me a break." And I prayed. And honestly, I'm not someone who really does. Um but it was like awful. And that was the worst part because when I said that I was struggling and that I couldn't take it anymore, I wasn't believed. And that was the worst because I remember I sent the email and the next day my counselor came over to that little vocational school and he pulled me aside as I walked in and he sat me down with the main counselor who worked at the vocational school. And they sat me down together and they started questioning me on it. Everything that had been happening. They wanted me to repeat everything they had said to me. And it was awful. It was awful because I was begging to drop out of the vocational school and just like spend my entire day at the home high school because that was an option. That's what most kids did. And I was like, I don't care if I have to redo every assignment leading up to this point. It was in December at that time. I will redo every assignment. I don't care. But I can't be here anymore. And they were like, about all the work you've done. All the work you've done, and you're gonna give that up over this? Over something silly like this? What about your certification? You could get a certification if you stay here. And I was like, I don't care. I need to leave. And they were like, well, I don't think we can do that. I'm so sorry. I don't think we can do that. Um, and which was a lie. They could have. They could have. I mean, as simple as that. Um, but I remember they finally told me to say the names of my bullies. And because I hadn't said it yet. I hadn't even wrote who they were in the email. Because even though these people who bullied me so bad and put me in the worst place I could have ever find myself in my entire life, I had never felt so bad. I didn't want to get them in trouble and cause them to, like, I don't know, get suspended or something. But they asked me their names, and I remember I couldn't say it. They were like, "Who are your bullies?" And I was like, I sat there for like 5 minutes, like tears in my eyes. I couldn't say it. And I finally did. And they didn't believe me. And I left and I went back to my class and I called my mom. And she was like, "I'll be right there." She's like, "I'll be right there." And of course she came. And I was sitting out in the hallway, and then I got a call from like the front office. They're like, "Your mom's here to get you." And I was like, "Thank God." Because I was like, I'm not being believed. That something's happening to me. Why don't they believe me? What have I done to deserve this? And my mom came and she talked to my counselor and stuff, and she talked to my principal at the vocational school, who was my principal in middle school when I was being bullied in middle school. And when I was being bullied in middle school, we went to him about the issue, and he didn't believe me when I said that was happening. And so when I found out he would be the principal at this school, I was crushed. But I was like, okay, well, I probably won't have to deal with him again. I was wrong. And my mom was talking to him and both the counselors about it, and they did not believe me at all. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry it's happening," but they didn't care. They did not care. But yeah, they oh god, they didn't care when I said something was happening to me. And my mom was like, "Okay, then I'm gonna ask you." She said this to them. She's like, "Well, then I'm gonna need your help on something. What's the best online school?" And they were like, they said something or whatever, and yeah, it was just awful. And then I remember this part's kind of funny. I remember we left my principal's office, and one of his kids, like his children, one of their pictures like fell off one of his shelves, and my mom, when she got up, she stepped on it and like smushed it into the ground. And that was funny, and he saw it, and that was pretty funny. But then I remember we ended up going to my home high school to talk to my principal there, and she wasn't there. So we talked to one of the counselors that was just on duty at the time. And it was actually the wife of my like specific counselor who had pulled me aside at the vocational school. And she was like, we told her what had happened, and she was like, "I don't see any reason why you can't be moved to the home high school the whole day. Like that should totally be something that we're able to do. I'll just have to talk to the principal about it, and I'll call you when I do, or she'll call you with like what we can do, what we can offer a solution." And so my mom took me home. She just pulled me out of school for the day because I wasn't staying there. She knew that. And I went home. I sat on the couch and I fell asleep, and I woke up to a call, and it was my mom. She was crying. She was crying on the phone, and she said, "I'm so sorry, baby. They're not gonna do it. I talked to your principal, and she said that you needed to get some grit and move on." She said those were her specific words. So my principal had told me that I needed to, and I quote, "get some grit and move on." It wasn't a big deal that I was being bullied. And so that was the worst part of it all. You know, um, the bullying itself was awful, but my entire school system failing me because that's what it was the worst part. And now all the time I would hear at the time, I heard my principal be like, anti-bullying. Everyone was like, don't bully, bullying's bad. And they do all those campaigns. And I would hear all the time. And I was like, you don't care if I live or die. Actually, live or die. Because there are people who get bullied every single day and they don't make it out. If you catch my drift. I'm one of the lucky ones because I had a good support system at home. You know how rare that is to have a good support system at home? Not everyone has that. So I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm lucky I made it out of school because I very well couldn't have. And you're going to sit here and tell me, no bullying, bullying is bad. We're doing everything we can to stop bullying. No, you're not. Because when I came to you about what was happening to me, you didn't believe me. And now I want all the time to be like, I'm over it. I forgive everyone. No, I don't. I don't forgive them. Sorry, sue me, put me in prison. I don't forgive any single one of them. But, at the same time, I'm really glad it happened. Because now I get to sit here and do stuff like this, and hopefully, by some chance, maybe I'll help someone. And if I could maybe help someone, then that's what I want to do. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty glad it happened. And I guess that's all to say that if you're going through something like I went through, it is very, very possible to come out of it okay. Because now I finally have like a purpose in my life and I'm following my dreams. And it was just 3 years ago that I was praying to God that I'd get hit by a car. And now, the world didn't end when I was 16. So if you are like me, and I'm sure many of you are, as I've spoken to some of you, life can be okay again after that. And even if you're someone who can't stand up for themselves like me, you can still you can still be okay. But that's not to say it isn't work, because for a long time, I was really damaged by it. And I guess you can see I still am. I still have the scars. But now it's more like, yeah, I know a second ago I was like, yeah, I'm still mad. I don't forgive any one of them, which is true. But it's more so I'm sad that it happened to me because it shouldn't have. And I'm kind of mourning what I could have been a little bit. Sometimes, not all the time. I'm kind of mourning what I could have been and like the girl I lost because of that, because I used to be a really, really, really happy person, and anyone around me would have described me as, oh, she's just so happy and vibrant. And then that happened, and no one could describe me as that anymore, and that was definitely a loss. But I think at the end of the day, it made me a better person, because now when I see that something's happening to other people, I do feel the empathy, and that's something a lot of people lack. I really feel for people going through it because I have been through it. And I think all the time, I'm just one of the lucky ones. It could have very well not ended so well for me. But it just didn't end at all. But I don't know. I've always wanted to talk about it because it was a big thing that happened to me. It changed my life. That happened, that whole scenario, mainly like the part where not being believed. But I don't talk about it often at all because, one, I mean, who really wants to hear a sad story, But also, it is a little hard to talk about sometimes. As you can see, I cried a little bit. Ooh, add that to the list of times I've cried. We got one. I'm sure there will be many more times I cry. But I don't know. I guess I was never ready to talk about it because I never really knew how I really felt about it because I try not to think about it all that often. But I'm glad I talked about it. Let you in on some of the lore. Let you in on some of the Beth lore. That was pretty much my high school experience, which I guess wasn't so long ago, but it's one reason I hate being home. I mean, I love being with my parents. I love being home with like my family, but I hate being in this town because I see people all the time that I went to high school with, they're not doing anything with their life. And by just being around them is like it kind of takes me back sometimes, which is why college was such a great thing for me. Which is why I would always encourage people to get their education if that was an option for you. Because it's such a good way to make something of yourself and come out of like the trenches on the other end being better, Of course, college isn't for everyone, nor is it an option for everyone, but if it is, I do encourage it. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me that I haven't talked about on here that I always said I would talk about, but I did not expect this to be the episode. It kind of just crawled up on me. I was going to talk about anxiety, but I guess I just went off the rails and told you all of my trauma. But yeah, I don't know. Are you guys mad at me? But I guess that's the end of the episode. Sorry if it was sad. I always want to like leave on a really happy note. I guess I can. Luke Newton, if you're out there, actually give me a call. DM me on Instagram, Bethany_Haven. I'll send you my phone number, actually, and we can get together. And if you are like me and you struggle with bullying too, your life doesn't really have to end. You know what I mean? You can be okay. I feel like I have really done something with myself, and I feel like I was able to do that because I have gone through such awful things, And I think when awful things happen to you, you have two choices. You can either let it ruin you or let it be the thing that drives you. And I always say choose the latter. So this was another installment of The Buzz with Beth. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed crying. But I love you all so much. Meow.